This is Surviving Survivor.
Hello and welcome back to Surviving Survivor. I am Jack Fraser, joined alongside my incredible co-hosts, Abby Tarpey and Emily McGlynn. And we are joined by such a special guest, the iconic Suenami, Sue Smey from Survivor 47 and Beast Games Season 2. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I'm really excited to be here. And I have to say, you're probably the first person who has said my last name correctly.
Really?
Everybody says it differently, and sometimes it goes into a long conversation. I'm like, I've got to correct you.
It's okay. Everyone says my last name wrong too. So I relate.
Fraser?
It's Fraser, but everyone says Fraser.
Yeah. See, we have the struggle's real.
It is. But yeah, we are super lucky enough to chat with Sue tonight and get a little bit of her takes on this season so far, the episode that happened last night, and stuff that's going on in her life. Yeah, let's go right into this episode. So sadly, last week we lost another 47 legend, Genevieve, as well as Camilla and Colby. I wanted to know what your thoughts were on last week's Blood Moon twist, and if you kind of have any opinions on those three vote outs.
Well, first of all, Genevieve is my girl, so the fact that she was taken out is devastating because there was nothing better than watching her play her game at her top level and becoming the biggest threat ever. What I didn't like about last week's episode, other than, Genevieve being voted out, was I really felt it was unfair to the cast members as well as to us viewers to lose three people in one episode. I felt like we're here, this is like an iconic season, and we're here enjoying it, excited to see all of these players in season 50, and for them to just boot out three, I don't know who planned it, to boot out three people in one episode. I thought it was unfair, especially to the players even.
I couldn't agree more. I felt like this season they have so many people that we have been leaning on so heavily in the edit that while I love getting content about Christian and Coach, where are the women of the season? And then also, why are we only seeing them for one or two episodes right before they get eliminated? But kind of going off of that, I'm curious who your favorites and least favorites are this season and kind of how you think the players are doing.
Okay, well, so let's start with Rizzo, because I think when I first sort of watched him and his season, I was just like, I don't know if he would drive me crazy. But this season, I think he is playing the best game out there. I mean, between building an alliance with Dee, first of all, and then Sari, and then Ozzy, and the way he speaks and how he sort of like had a school coach blows my mind. He's speaking like an old soul that's done this 100 times. So to me, I'm very impressed with Rizzo, first of all. I felt from the very beginning that Christian has been so entertaining. He just cracks me up, from the get-go. I mean, everything he's done. So far, as of today, Coach is making me crazy. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, but I think he's just been like a wackadoo. Like, I don't understand, right? Are you guys agreeing with me?
I completely agree.
I don't know if I were there. So here's the thing. He would drive me crazy, but I think he would drive everybody crazy, and I think he's a shield. So he's someone that you sort of want to keep in there and just suck it up and deal with it, because when someone's there and they pin that on themselves, they become such a target that people can't take it anymore. So if you can keep him in a little bit longer and not take me out, that's what I would be doing, is just like let him just keep digging his own grave. But I was just like, is he taking mushrooms or something? Like he just was like, I don't know, right? Like, it wasn't a little bit bizarre, and they're only showing us a few of the edits. I can't even imagine everything that's been going on when it's 24/7, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was doing all the haikus and laughing at himself. And even Emily, I think, said it perfectly of like, he's driving everyone insane. And he's so kind of disillusioned to this fact that honor and integrity is his main thing, but he also lies. And like, talk to somebody like Joe. Joe is honorable without the lying. He is honorable, but so sneaky.
Do you feel like he's doing this for the cameras, or do you feel like as I was watching him? Look, when I first on 47 when we first got there, there was one person on my original tribe that I felt was just doing 24/7 cameos. The talking that was going on was directly knowing the cameras there, and it was not for us, it was for the cameras. And do you feel like Coach is sort of doing that too? Like he just went off and he's just like wanting to get this screen time, and this is his way to get it?
I feel like that's been the question for him for the past 20 years of if this is really him or if he is just such a character in the same way someone like Philip was. And so seeing how he acts, I would think it might just be an exaggerated version of himself, but I don't think, at least for me, you guys can tell me if you feel differently. I could not put that on for 3 weeks straight and make that up. Like it has to be coming from something. And it's just where that line of like reality and fictitious, reality television might be. But is that something that you notice on the island and you pick out from fellow players where you're seeing who's amping up who they are and who's being a bit more real to see if they're good alliance members?
I did. I felt it, and I don't want to be throwing out any names, but yes, I felt there were at times people that did that, and even though they were having their conversations, they didn't stop speaking. And I used to be like, oh my God, he's like having his own cameo, like 24/7 cameo, and like it's frustrating, and I don't know that I picked up on it. Maybe it's because I'm older, because I sat back and I really observed, the first, even the 4 days of us being out on Tuku. Um, Other people were more genuine, and it was a personal conversation where you were asking other people about themselves as well. And I think I just felt like for Coach to be sitting in that hammock and he was just talking to the cameras, right? Like he wasn't. I don't know what he was doing, but it looked like he was just talking to the cameras, just putting on a whole show. And to me, that's a total turnoff. But again, I would use that to my benefit to move forward in the game.
I guess we now can confirm that you two have never spoken and you've never met.
Oh, never. I don't know what he's like. I'm assuming he's a great guy. He wouldn't come back if he weren't, I don't think. And yeah, I don't know him personally, and I've never met him. And I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that he's a really good guy, and I would like him. But I don't know. I don't know that other level that he's at. If that's just a show or if it's really who he is, then good for him.
I mean, he's never defined honor and integrity. He just says it over and over again, but never tells us what he thinks it is. So, as much as he can say it, and whatever the hubbub is around those words, actions speak louder than words. So, I completely agree with what you said, Sue.
Yeah. So do we want to move on to talking a little bit about this challenge? And Sue is quite familiar with this challenge. So I don't know, were you getting flashbacks when you saw that this was what it had to be?
You know what? This was the one I really thought I was gonna do good, because I felt like I was good with my balance challenges. But that pole was so heavy. It's much heavier, and it's so long that I think I wasn't one of the first, but I was pretty close to the beginning of the first people. And when I looked and saw how everybody else was doing and how they were standing, I guess I could have done better. But yeah, like when I see challenges that I did, it's the coolest thing in the world, whether I did well or didn't do well.
We had Stephanie go on a journey.
Yeah, you know what? For her challenge, I thought it was very impressive. I felt like if she really wanted to pull off her story, because every time something like this happens, I'm always thinking, what's the story they're going to come back with? And she had a good story, but I think that she really would have pulled it off if she came back wet, because or like, right, because if the water fell on her head, she should have been wet or had little signs that water fell on her, and she came back completely dry. And even if it dries off in the boat or whatever it is, she should have done something like jumped in the water before she got in the boat. And but Cerie's just too brilliant to believe anything. But I guess, she pulled it off, and everyone really got it. They believed her. But I was happy for her because I feel like we didn't get any good edits of Stephanie in the first 4 episodes either. And like you were saying, Abby, with a lot of the women didn't have a lot of edits. We all know that that's a big social media thing, and everyone's talking about it. And I agreed. Like, once she brought it to my attention, like you sort of know something seems off, but it doesn't play out until she actually mentioned it. And it's so true, and it's just a shame because there were so many things that the guys were doing or the conversations they were having, but between Cerie, Dee, all of the women, Camilla, like, there had been amazing conversations, a lot of strategy, a lot of thoughts, and we missed out on all of them, which is, I felt very, disappointed in that because I'm always rooting for the women to begin with, and the fact that we didn't get a lot. I mean, we saw great edits for Genevieve, which I think was amazing, but everybody else was sort of left out, and even Tiffany, right? Like, there was nothing, no edits whatsoever.
And the Tiffany one makes me so sad because she's so entertaining. Like the beginning, it was so interesting to get into her mind in the beginning of this episode when she's talking about how angry she was, but she stayed so composed to everybody. But then we had a great confessional of her referencing the Mean Girls Burn book and just letting out all of her anger.
It's so good to see, and this is what we need. I wish they had done more of that. But again, they spent so much time on that, the country singer. I don't remember his name. What's his name?
Zach Brown.
Zach Brown. I'm not a country girl, so I don't know. But yeah, that was, I know that was sort of somewhat of an social media issue as well. But if that's me on Survivor, and say I'm Genevieve, and now I know I'm only there for 5 episodes. I want more screen time with my gameplay to show people why I was chosen to be on the show, as well as the other people, Colby and Camilla.
I do have to ask a fun question though, because I felt the exact same way about Zach Brown as you, along with the rest of our podcast, and most people we know, not big country fans in Los Angeles. Who would be like your number one celebrity that if they showed up on the island, you would be beyond excited?
So, well, I'm a big Fleetwood Mac, Eagles, so like I'm into all of that type of music. So every single one of them, would completely, get me going. But yeah, I mean, I think that what they did is with Zach Brown, like they fulfilled his fantasy or his dreams of being on the show. Where I don't think they took in. I don't know who thought of it, and I think it's nice that they did something like that. But it could have been cut in half by like a lot. Even like his fishing, they said his whole fishing thing was totally fake, right, or something. I don't know for sure, but that's what they said.
Yeah, that's what they said. That's what I believe at least.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So I don't know. That I wasn't so thrilled with that, and someone had asked me about it. And I said, well, to be honest, I fast forwarded through it. And then, because so many people were talking about it, I actually had to friggin' go back and watch the whole thing because I needed to have the information about it. So that sort of sucked, but yeah. That when something, because I recorded, I just watch it, later on or whatever, but I just fast forwarded through it. It just was like, too much.
No, I don't blame you. Luckily, we didn't have any long Zach Brown cameos this week. And I think we got a lot of really interesting strategy. We got Cirie forming that bond, continuing with Rizzo. I'm so impressed by Cirie because she comes in every season as the world's biggest target and yet somehow survives every time and makes it so that she's in a power position. What are your thoughts on Cirie's gameplay this season so far?
I love her gameplay. And, if you watch her, she's just like sly like a fox, right? She knows how to like build these bonds with people, build trust with people. She can suck them all in, and she lays back and just watches everybody do their thing. And when she's ready to attack, she'll attack. And I don't know if I'm sure you guys caught it too, but even with the conversation with Rizzo about Dee, when Rizzo told her about Dee telling Emily about the idol, she was the smart one that she said, well, I don't know, maybe we got to think about Dee. And then Rizzo's like, oh, I got the idea, maybe we got to get rid of Dee. And so like she planted that, and she's the whole person that manipulated that whole thing for that conversation to even evolve into we got to go for Dee. So she's very smart, very cunning, but as we all know, she'll just cut your throat with a smile on her face. So she's dangerous as well. And I don't think that her being not so physical even matters. I think they all know her so well, they respect her so well, they love her so well that they're understanding that they've got to give her a lift when she needs it, and they'll make it through the challenge. So someone else was saying, oh, she's just not so good at the challenges. And with these shows, all of the games, like once you just can get to the puzzle, that's the deal breaker. If you can get there early enough, you got a better shot. But the puzzles are what holds everybody back. And so I think that they're all very comfortable with having her around right now.
Yeah, and Cerie's not usually the first one out of those endurance challenges either. Like, she makes it a good amount. She shows that she cares, and she doesn't ever give up, which is something that I love about her.
The thing that if you're going to work with Cirie, she's all in 110%, and she's going to give it her all, and she's not going to give up. So that's like, how do you not have respect for that? That's just, it's such a beautiful thing to watch, and she's pushing her, physical limitations, but she's still not going to give up and quit. And like, I have a lot of respect for her for that.
Another person I wanted to talk a little bit about and get your perspective on is Aubrey, because as we saw, she had the idol, and last week said to everyone she was going to play it, and then ended up not playing it, and then this week decided to play it even though she knew, ended up not forgetting to play it, and then this time playing it just to go out there and play it. And I know, as somebody who had an idol, that you were able to keep with you throughout the season. What are your thoughts on having an idol that's just everybody's in the knowledge of? Do you think she made the right decision just kind of giving it up? What do you think she should have done?
Who just throws away an idol? I don't, are you playing for the people to like you, or are you playing to try to win and live another day? And like everybody, they all know everybody else has idols too, but they're not forcing them to just throw it away, right? Like, I thought that was the worst move she could have possibly done. And for me, my tribals were always so comfortable knowing that I had the idol in my bra. Like, it was just, and if I ever got some sort of feeling, I had no problem pulling it out. And there are many days that I woke up saying, I think I'm playing my idol tonight. The fact that she didn't need to use it, she knew she wasn't going to use it, and she just threw it away, blows my mind. And I think that was the worst gameplay I've ever seen on Survivor. Do you guys agree?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Something that we've talked about here a little bit is it's interesting in the new era, or at least in the last couple of seasons, where if majority of people on the tribe know that you have an idol, they're like, okay, we can't touch you. We saw it with Rizzo last season, right? Where he was like, I have an idol, I'm going to play it. And he never did. And now it's such an old school way of thinking, right? Is like, oh my gosh, everyone knows, I just have to get rid of it now because I don't want to be a target. No. You got to use that as like your weapon.
It's a power play. Yeah, it's a power play. And the fact that she didn't just was so shocking. So shocking. And do you know what else I love seeing? You brought up Rizzo and his idol. None of them saw his season. So none of them knew how long he dragged that on either. So I'm wondering, is he going to do that this time too? Right?
I think he wants to play a whole different ball game, which is so fascinating to me. So there's so many different facets to him and how much he loves the game. It's just been so cool. I could totally see you two working together, but him more so fangirling over you.
I don't know about that, but I definitely. I mean, first of all, he's on two seasons already, and I'm 50, so it should be me fangirling him. But fanboying, is that? Do you call it fanboying? I don't know what you
I
call
don't know.
it.
It doesn't matter.
Fan duding it. I don't know, but yeah, he's definitely. I don't think I've ever been so proud of someone. I think it's because he's so young and he's just so brilliant, and his words, how he speaks and how he thinks so fast on his feet, and just he wanted to make that alliance with Dee. He wanted to make that alliance with Suri, and then he got the alliance with Ozzy, and he's just working it. He's just playing with magic. It's just really impressive. I never expected that out of Rizzo when I watched the first episode.
Yeah, I think it just shows how strong of a game player he is because even though there are other factors of why Camilla and Dee went home, they lost Jonathan, which is kind of what the show chose as like this big thing. And that's because of the fact that they chose to keep Rizzo over Charlie. And so Rizzo must have been so persuasive and have such a good vibe. And yes, obviously the women were doing it on their own game. And for Dee, she even said during exit press today that she still stands by that decision of it being the smarter move for her. And I agree. I think that Jonathan was always going to flip, and it was a way for Dee to kind of have more power in the game. But also, I'm just so impressed that Rizzo, somebody nobody knows, is able to kind of get this all going.
Yeah, yeah, and and well, jumping back to Charlie, even it's just such a shame that like he picked up on that and he just honed in on that, and that was like his downfall, right? He just became so obsessed with that it's a shame because I would have loved to have seen more of Charlie too, but he blew his own chances there.
Can we talk about Jonathan for a second? Because this man is playing this game and no one else I feel like understands that. I mean, like Sue, you know better than the three of us do, but like, can you really tell on the island that someone is playing the game, or do you kind of have to like pick it apart a little bit?
No, you can tell. If you can hear what they're saying, but when you see people, going in a certain area, and and then he got Dee all riled up, and then he said he did it intentionally to get Dee riled up. First of all, he she was just fighting her case. I don't think he made her explode into this crazy lunatic whatsoever. So that was a little bit over the top. I don't, I mean, he can take credit for what he wants to take credit for. I don't think she did anything over the top. I think I would have blown up more than she did. So I think she handled herself really well. But yeah, he's playing a good game. I mean, he's fun to watch because he just stands out and he's not holding anything back. So it's good to see.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I mean it's so like you were able to have so much annoyance to a player but keep it very much to yourself, and I think that just shows really good gameplay and like good self-restraint of being able to navigate the game and think logically and not just think on emotion. And I think that's something that both Dee and Jonathan have kind of proven that they can do.
Do you know what it is? You actually like each other. Like I liked Kyle. I enjoyed Kyle, um, but he wrote my name down. Yeah, so like you don't forget that stuff. But I did like him, and I knew that we didn't want him moving too much more forward. But in the same breath, like I knew I had to bide my time, and I think they all do like each other, and more so, they must respect the hell out of each other, right? Like I knew these were complete strangers, and so I was able to control myself a little bit, except for like with Caroline, maybe I sort of told her everything, but and when I went on from my uh, to interviews. Sorry, I'm tired. When I went for my interviews, obviously, they could bring him up, and I'm like, wham, but I can't imagine the respect all of these people have on season 50 for each other. It's I don't even know what I would be like if I were out there. I just think I'd be fangirling everybody all the time. Even Rizzo now.
I feel like that's what makes the season so interesting and kind of difficult for everyone, and especially for him, where all they know about him is his nickname is Riz God. So then to come onto a season where you're playing with the greats like Sari and Ozzy and very iconic players, while unfortunately once we get into Tribal Council, D gets voted out and goes home, she's being voted out by people she talked about in her press that she loved before she ever started on Survivor. So combining that old school and new era style of players, I feel like would create a very positive but chaotic aura, perhaps.
I think so. It's I can't even imagine what it's like. And then in the same breath, like for me, Cerie's one of the deadliest people there. Even though you love her, you probably want to work with her. But that's her magic is she, brought Dee and Rizzo, and she brought them in to like trust her. So you're like, okay, she's not going to do it to me. She'll just do it to everybody else, type thing. So and then look how quick she flipped on her. Right? She flipped real quick on her. So it just goes to show Cerie's playing too, but she's playing her silent but deadly game.
Yeah, I have a question for you. If in a season where there are some winners but not a lot of winners, are you kind of instantly using that as an excuse to write someone's name down, or is that kind of something you would keep on the back burner?
No, I would want to. I would do what I could to get them out because you don't want to sit next to tribal, final tribal with them when they say, "Look, I did a kick-ass job however many years ago, and I'm back here again." Like that's definitely something you don't want to go to final tribal with. So I would do what I could. Plus, they got the money. For me, I'm just like, I want the money. So I would want to get them out too, and I would probably try to do it with Dee. Like I have so much respect for Dee, and I would have loved to have played with her, but also her game. You know that she's gonna chop your head off when she has to. So I would want her to be with me when it's so chaotic and so many people. But then once it got smaller, I absolutely would want her out. And anybody that won.
So overall, how do you feel about her vote off and how we kind of got to this point?
I feel like we all saw it coming. She did play a sloppy game. She told too many people about Rizzo's idol, and she even admitted that she played a sloppy game. And I don't know. I think it's interesting to see how they're all they're doing what they can to get the trust from other people. But when you've got this many people here, I think it's really hard to do because everyone tells one person one thing and then that person runs and tells everybody else. It's too much telephone tag between them, and she blew it. She definitely blew it, and everybody saw the game she was playing. And obviously, there's more to this story than what they've shown. So I think she really went down, probably doing a lot more things than we know about to have every single person being like, we're going to take her out, even with Coach being wacko.
Yeah, I think honestly my favorite quote of the episode was when Dee was giving that confessional of being like, "Oh, I like feel it that I made that game losing mistake." And I just think that's so interesting if that is. I mean, you made it to the end. You don't have to experience that torch snuff. But I'm curious if that is something everybody has of like that one mistake in their head that they can pinpoint as that's kind of when I lost it. And so I was so interested by that, what Dee said there.
Yeah, you know what? Because I'm assuming, because she knew that the strong alliance she had with Cirie, who obviously has people that she's aligned with, that she's spent years being at parties with, years bonding with. So we don't see it all, but I'm sure she's got a huge, huge alliance that we don't even know about going on. So the fact that Dee burned Rizzo, they were their big alliance, she knew that this was going to come back and bite her because she just broke all of their trust. And I think, like I keep saying, is Cirie is way more powerful than they're showing right now.
Well, and so with that, I'm curious what you think and or want to happen for the rest of 50 and kind of what your predictions might be.
I want chaos. I want lies. I want people going crazy. I want people backstabbing each other, blindsiding each other. I want everything just. I want to see all of them at their best. I want to see all of their brains going, their thoughts going. I love, like, we didn't have a lot of Christian this time, but like he's just so brilliant, and I love how he speaks as well. And he's become one of my favorites since Genevieve is gone. That I just think, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen with the idol that's hidden at Tribal. Like, that's going to be fun. So I can't wait to see how that goes on. Yeah, I want pure chaos. These are the top of the top. They were chosen for a reason. So I'm like, bring it on. Show us what you all got.
You're starting to sound like Chaos Cast there for a second.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll own it. I'll own it. Man, I haven't heard her name in a while. Yeah, bring it on. But we want to be. I've been so entertained this season. Other than the cowboy guy, the country guy, like. But I've been so entertained. Like I don't know if after my season, I watched the show. I still always love the show. But like I feel like none of it was as good as my season, so I enjoyed it. But I enjoyed it. But this has got me back in. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. I'm loving watching everybody. And, maybe Genevieve being on there, it was definitely an added bonus. I would have loved, I think about Andy being on there. I would have loved to have seen him, but Rizzo is blowing him out of the water. So Rizzo definitely deserved that spot. Do you guys agree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love Andy. We covered 47. It's collectively our favorite as well from the new era. And Abby, especially Abby, was number one team Suenami supporter. She had the number one draft pick and like was rooting the entire time. It was awesome. But yeah, we loved Andy, but I think Rizzo's just completely making his time so worth it.
I mean, for Rizzo to school coach is just mind blowing, right? He schooled him, telling him to calm down. Like, who tells coach to calm down? The Riz God, right?
Well, and there's such similar people on paper of this very chaotic, very unpredictable, like younger guy, but they're fulfilling that role in such different ways on the show. Where Andy seemed like he was doing chaos, whereas Rizzo is very chaotic, but he's also being very calm and strategic this season, I feel. And he's understanding how to communicate with different people differently of what you're saying to Coach versus Suri versus Ozzy are all so varied. And I'd be interested how Andy would maybe approach that differently.
I guess I don't know. It would be interesting to find out, but Andy definitely was, his words to all of us all the time were, I like you. I really want to work with you. I can see us going to the end. And he did that to every single one of us. And that was about it that he had. So, I mean, he had other stuff too, but basically that was his spiel. Like when we'd sit down, he'd be like, my mom would love you, blah, 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 blah. But like there was not other than when they did Operation Italy, that was, there was really not much more. That's when he was brilliant and did an amazing job at lying. But his game was more just like telling you how he wanted to work with you. And I think by the last time he told me, I was just like, Andy, F you. You've said this to me 4 times. You're just a liar and no. Like we did it jokingly, but like I was just like, Andy, I don't trust you anymore. I think he did it right before we went to Tribal, and he knew he was going to go out because of Caroline. So he tried.
So even though you haven't competed on Survivor twice, you have been to that island twice, and somebody who is going to be joining very soon again is Mr. Beast. I'm curious to see your thoughts, if you were surprised to know that he was going to be coming on to season 50, and if you're kind of excited to see what he will add to this season.
So I'm excited to see. We know he is Mr. Beast, and he doesn't do anything without making things like mind blowing. So it's going to be interesting to see their surprised faces of when he shows up and what it is he's going to do. I can't wait. I mean, we're not going to know what happens. We just know that he should be there. And I was also wondering, with next week's edit, did you see that they just said, I don't know what the twist is, but when Jeff said, things might be, what did he say? Might be, I forgot what he said.
Something about pairs, how you're going to be in it together.
But he also said something, I forgot what else it was, but he made a comment that made it sound like things can really take a bigger change or something. And I'm wondering if that's when Mr. Beast is going to show up and maybe try to do something. I don't know, but I'm hoping it's next week. That would be so cool.
I would love to get the Mr. Beast appearance. I think we're excited to see what happens.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. And I like we'll see because what on Beast Games, they shook hands saying this is our our first annual, and then they shook hands. So it'll be really cool if this is going to continue, and Mr. Beast will be on Survivor, so, Jim or Jeff will be on Beast Games. It's really cool. I thought. What'd you guys think of this crossover? Oh wait,
I'm excited.
yeah,
I'm
the
excited to
Beast
see.
Games. Did you see the
Oh,
Beast Games?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I love seeing the Beast Games crossover. I am a Survivor fan through and through, so getting to see the interactions with Jeff and even seeing you there and being able to root for a Survivor contestant on the island was really exciting.
It was crazy, and the funny thing is I had this huge like cancerous tumor on my leg, so I actually went there still with stitches in my leg, but I hadn't been able to work out or do anything probably 3 weeks prior. So I was so out of shape by the time I got there. So I was very disappointed in, like I wish I could have done a little bit better to help my team because I would have loved to made it to the final. But because like who can say they were on Survivor twice and back to back years and actually won at final tribal finally. But it's you never know. There's always next year.
Exactly. Hey, I love to hear it. But yeah, thank you, Sue, so much for joining us. It's such a pleasure to have you here. We loved your input, and we're such big fans of you and your journey, and can't wait to continue going and watching everything you're on.
Really appreciate you having me. This is fun. I love doing these. So who doesn't want to talk about Survivor, right?
Yeah. So if you want to let the people know where we can find you, where we can keep on watching you.
On Instagram, it's Sue Smey S47 for Survivor 47. That's my Instagram right now. I've been walking in. I'm a brand ambassador for Smart Swimsuits, and I did New York City Fashion Week, and I did Las Vegas, the Michael Jackson collection. I will be walking in May for the Miami Fashion Week, and I will be ending up at a few months going to Italy. So you can see my runway walks in the next few months, which is really exciting. And right now, that's about it. I'm waiting and hoping for a phone call for something. So we'll see. Hopefully, we'll be seeing me on the screens again.
And we'll be very excited to watch whatever show you're on.
That's a
But
crazy
before
tease.
then, yeah.
Sorry. Couldn't leave you guys hanging without meme of the week. That would be like a felony if we didn't do this.
Of course.
You guys thought.
I can go
Um,
first if you guys want.
Go ahead.
So I'm including, obviously we love Survivor, but I'm adding two reality shows with one meme because we got Coach writing haikus to himself in the hammock on Survivor, and then it is Alyssa Edwards laughing hysterically to herself.
My meme of the week is funny enough. It is a clip from Survivor, but it's from another season. So it's not from this season. And I mean, this is kind of a basic one, but it's too funny. Emily running to tell every secret ever told to her, any random person nearby.
Oh wait, I love that too. That's so
Yeah.
good.
So that's mine of the week.
And I'm gonna match Emily with something else about a different Emily. With Emily, whenever another player tells her a secret, and it's the guy
Yep.
going
Yes,
off
the
and
British are
yapping.
coming. The British are
Yep.
coming.
But instead, it's an idol. Thank you so much for joining for this episode. We'll link everything about you down below. And otherwise, we will see the rest of you guys next week for whatever happens on Survivor.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Guys.
Bye.